Hey guys, Jake here from Jake's Opinion. Finals week 2 kicks off tonight with a big game, Adelaide v Fremantle, followed by another big game, Collingwood v West Coast tomorrow. Let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. So the weekend kicks off with Adelaide v Fremantle at AAMI Stadium. Adelaide, coming off a pretty bad loss to Sydney last week, had many chances, had 22 more inside 50s, didn't take them. That's what happens in finals, you've got to take those chances. Fremantle, on the other hand, had an amazing win against Geelong, beating them both times they've played them this year, so something that not many teams can say. It was all about Matthew Pavlich. He kicked 6 goals. They were just very disciplined, expected under Ross Lyon. I thought they were going to challenge, but I didn't think they were going to actually win it, but good on them, they did it. Last time these teams played, it was in round 20 at AAMI Stadium, so not too long ago, where Adelaide won 119 to Fremantle 91, so a fairly convincing win. They played before that in round 10 at Subiaco, and it was a similar result, Adelaide winning by 5 goals. So they've got a good record over Fremantle in recent games. My key players though are firstly for Adelaide, Taylor Walker. In the last 2 times they've played Fremantle, they've won by 5 goals, and Taylor Walker has kicked 4 in each game. So that's one player that Fremantle will have to look closely at. Zach Dawson's probably going to get the role, although they've also got Kurt Tippett as a big forward as well, Paul Pleasure. They've got a very, very versatile forward line with a lot of talls and a lot of really good smalls, so it's going to be a test for Fremantle. My key player though for Fremantle is obviously going to be Matthew Pavlich. If you guys don't understand why I'm picking him, go and watch the game from last week because that explains it in a nutshell. He kicked 6 goals, he was the captain, he led from the front, he won them the game, he was amazing. That's what Adelaide have got to watch. If they can keep him quiet, then they're going to probably win the game and win it well. But when he's on, Fremantle are just running quick because they know that if they kick it long to him, he's going to cause problems for the Adelaide defence. And he probably will. It's just a matter of kind of holding that to 2 or 3 goals and not more than that, because then things get difficult for Adelaide. Though I think with the home ground advantage, I said this last week and Adelaide lost, but I still think that with the home ground advantage and that their experience from last week, I figured that they'll learn from that and come into this week with a bit of confidence, knowing that they've played them twice already, beaten them convincingly, at home in front of the supporters, Adelaide by 10. Now for the next game, it's Collingwood v West Coast at the MCG tomorrow night. Last time these teams played was in round 22, so again very recent. It was at Patterson Stadium where West Coast won very convincingly, 107 to Collingwood 58. So I'm sure Collingwood are very keen on making amends and beating West Coast this week. Though I'm not sure they're going to do it. Key player for West Coast is Nat Nui for me. I did Dean Cox last week, but I had to do the other ruckman this week because it's a game that he could just rip apart. At the MCG in September, this is made for players like Nat Nui with his height, his speed, his ground level skills. He just can do it all for a big man, and especially when he's learning from a guy like Dean Cox, he's just going to become an absolute champ if he not already is a champ. I think with no Maxwell, Collingwood's going to struggle to maintain him, especially with Kennedy back, Darling, Cox can go forward, Nat Nui can go forward. This was the problem that they had last time at Patterson Stadium in round 22. They couldn't hold off the West Coast power forwards and the height and their strength, and especially now with Maxwell gone, I don't know if Collingwood can hold them. I know they've got Cloak down the other end that West Coast need to worry about, but when they've got a guy like Darren Glass there, they can kind of let him do the job. But with Collingwood, they haven't really got a consistent defender now, especially with Harry O'Brien. He's not really in great form. Reid, up and down. They're too busy trying to run off and create, and I feel like that they need to play more one-on-one if they're going to have a good chance in this game. For Collingwood though, my key player is going to be Dane Swan. In the last 10 meetings between these two clubs, Dane Swan has racked up 35 plus disposals in 5 of those games against West Coast. He needs to control the midfield battle. Whoever he's going to be on, he needs to make them accountable and to run off them and to create kick goals, have those 35 disposals, kick it to Cloak, and just get some confidence going in that midfield, because last week it just lacked it. They were too busy chasing Hawthorn when they could have just backed themselves the other way, which was surprising because that's something you kind of associate with Collingwood these days, that they don't really care about the opposition. They're going to play their way and they're going to hope that the opposition needs to tweak their game plan to suit them. But that didn't happen. That's going to happen tomorrow. So Swan is Collingwood's key player. He needs to get off the leash and create and dominate that midfield. Though, even saying all that, I'm not really confident in Collingwood winning. they've just had too many up and down quarters. They'll have one really good quarter, they'll have another bad quarter, and it just keeps going from there. And you can't win like that in finals. West Coast, on the other hand, I know they played a young team in North Melbourne, but just the way they went about it, it's already going to cause Collingwood problems. You can't really just say, oh, it was North Melbourne, Collingwood will beat them easy, even if they play exactly the same way. No, they won't. Not many teams. Maybe Hawthorn would even struggle the way West Coast played last week. They were just bombing along, marking it, kicking goals whenever they wanted. Midfield was running North Melbourne's into the ground. They're just got to be really careful, Colin, because I've got some serious confidence in West Coast to go pretty far in this final series. In saying all that, I really do think West Coast will win this game, but only by about 15 points, not much more than that. It's going to be a great spectacle nevertheless, so make sure you sit down and enjoy this game, especially with guys like Nat Nui running around and Dane Swan, very great players of the AFL. It's going to be an awesome game, and like I said just then, I think West Coast will win it. Well, that's it guys, that's my Week 2 Finals preview. I hope you enjoyed it. Got my key players there for you, last time they met, all these cool stats. Hopefully you liked it. Like the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. There's going to be more of these next week with the big prelim finals and then the grand final. I'm hopefully going to plan something pretty special for you guys for that. Again, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave comment below, tell me who you're tipping and who you think are going to be the two teams to play off in the grand final. I honestly think it's going to be Hawthorn and West Coast, but you know, prove me wrong. Tell me who you think is going to make it and why. Thanks again for all the support and the new subscribers. I'm loving this, you know, making videos about stuff that I love. It's awesome. Yeah, that's it from me. Have a good weekend, enjoy the footy, and I'll see you guys next week.